So I'm here with Karen Long, who is one of our writers for issue 18 of Legacy Arts Magazine. And Karen, so she has this incredible background as a portrait photographer, and now she's really starting to get into to video. And so she's written this great article called Video Memories. And it talks about, you'll have to check it out. You can either check it out in the magazine itself or go to our website, paragonroad.com, and check out the blog. There's a blog post there. So if you look up Karen Long or Video Memories, that'll pull up. But anyway, it's such a pleasure to have you, Karen, and to be talking with you. And would you mind just telling a little bit about how you got into the video work that you're doing?
Well, I had a fantastic mentor at college when I was studying still photography named Doug Little. And he, you have to read the article to get the full impact of Doug, but he really was just one in a million. He and I were student and teacher at RIT, and this was, a long time ago. And I kept in touch with him because he was such a great instructor and person. And he really kind of taught me how to see light. And he also taught me how to help people feel comfortable on camera. He spent 30 summers in a monastery on the island of Athos in Greece, communicating with his body because he didn't speak the language. And he produced 10,000 photographs that he put into a book just with body language and his face. So he showed me really how to help people feel comfortable. And after doing still photography for a long time, I took a video class, and it was really new to me. The moving image was never anything I thought would capture my attention, but I thought I could practice on Doug. So I called him up one day and I said, I think he was, he was in his early 90s then, but if you met him, you would think he was in his late 70s. He was always really much younger much younger and acting looking than anybody his age. So I asked him if I could do this video for him, and he was all for it. He wasn't at all reticent about being on camera or speaking. He was an instructor. He liked to talk. So I went up to his home in Rochester, and I spent the weekend, and I just, I was like reading my books, like what do I do now? And I just kind of set up my tripod, and I asked him questions that I thought other people would want to know about him, especially his family, because he has a pretty big family, and they didn't live nearby. So he would always joke about being 90 or 95 and think this was his last day, but he never acted old. So I just made a list of questions that I thought would be interesting, and I asked him to show me around the things that he cared about. He had photographs that he had done in Greece that he picked up in the video and showed me, and artifacts that he had collected that were meaningful to him. He actually converted to a new religion when he went to Athos, and he spoke about that. So I started out asking him about his childhood, and he was telling me details about when he was 13 with detail. Couldn't believe he remembered all that. And then he told me about, going to college, meeting his college sweetheart, and how they became a family, his kids, his wife died. He had another relationship, and I knew this woman from having going up to visit them over the years. I even knew his first wife, really. He told me how he became an instructor, and then I asked him more deeper questions about what was really important for people to know about him. How did he know that he had met the one when he met his wife? And really the kinds of stories that you would think a family would really want to keep as a memory. And he was so animated that it really made, I think his personality helped it a lot. So he got me excited about it because his enthusiasm always was a big thing to me. And that was our language. We were both enthusiastic about learning, and and using our skills. So that's kind of how I got started. He was the first one, really.
Yeah, well, so that's incredible. So you write about this relationship in the article that that you wrote, and this video that you produced. Now, this video you ended up when he did die, you ended up basically presenting it to his family and showing it at the funeral, right? The memorial for him.
Well,
What was the response of his family?
yeah, I had sent the video to his three daughters. I was the fourth adopted daughter, so they knew who I was by
Nice.
then. And they had seen it before the funeral. And when I went to Rochester to the funeral home, I walked in and there's this big video screen with our video. And people came up to me and, everybody was crying and talking about him. And, oh, this is so amazing. We feel like he's here with us. And he just, he had that kind of presence. He was very articulate. He could tell stories that would really make you feel like you were in that moment. And some of those stories were in the video, and some of those people were in the video. So there they were in the funeral home, listening to him talk about them. And I think it really helped everybody feel connected. I had never met a lot of these people before, but I knew their stories because I'd listened to the video a lot and I'd listened to him speak. It was just a great connector. And I think it gave everybody a sense of his presence, really his presence in their lives. And even in his death, his presence was still palpable. You could still feel his personality around you and remember your exchanges with him. I think that's what it was. Whenever I watch it, I remember laughing with him or things that we did together, and just hearing his voice and seeing that smile. You can see it on a photograph, but somehow it's just not the same when you see it moving and you hear the person talking to you in the moment. It's just it feels very present.
Oh, it's incredible. Well, what an incredible gift for his family and his friends, and to feel
Yeah.
that connection. Um, so, it sounds like Doug was sort of very artful with storytelling and language and being enthusiastic and so on. What about people that maybe are a little hesitant about being on film, and what kind of obstacles do you see of people that are saying, well, I'm not exactly that great at telling stories or being on film? How do you help them to feel more comfortable?
I think most people don't feel comfortable on camera in general. It's just not, well, now it's much more common with phones, but to actually sit and tell your story, what you value in life. And these are questions I would ask are, what's been important to you? What do you want people to know about you? Once you get people talking about what really matters to them, especially if they can tell a story, people get lost in stories and they forget about being self-conscious. Also, you can remind them that, everybody knows time is precious, but they never realize how precious it is until it's gone. And if you can tell a story and you want people to remember you, I just think it's a priceless gift. I'm about to make one with my husband, who we just had our first grandchild. And this was a complete, not a surprise to us, but it was unexpected because the couple had said that they didn't want to have children. And all of a sudden, we have this person, and he's a really interesting baby. He's not just a regular baby. He's like a super baby. He's 6 months old now, but he looks like he's a year old, and he's doing all these kinetic things that you wouldn't imagine. So hearing my husband talk about him, you can watch him animate. And he's so excited about this kid. I can't wait to ask him, because he's had a bad cold. I can't wait to ask him, what's it like to have a grandchild? Because he can, as shy as he is, I'm going to have to shut the camera off. It's going to be hard for me to get him to stop talking. I think the questions that matter to people who survive are, what was this person like? What kinds of lessons can they leave behind? Um, what are some important moments in their lives that they might never have heard about? It's just priceless to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I wish I had my some of my relatives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. To have that kind of a piece to leave behind is there's
Yeah.
nothing that really replaces it.
Oh,
Well, that's incredible. And in her article, I want you to be aware that she actually has some tips in there about how to get into video, how to get into, recording your own videos, and some examples of questions she asked Doug, for the first time when she did this the first time with that video. And I just love that, that you provide kind of an easy way to get into that for people. So if someone's interested in kind of producing a legacy video, do you think that they're fine just sort of pulling out their iPhone and going for it, or do you recommend them hiring someone to help out? What do you recommend there?
I think phones have become so ubiquitous. People are used to being photographed with phones everywhere. Videos are really easy, and the cameras have gotten so good. They're shocking how good they are. And even if you hand hold it, you can, well, first of all, anything is better than nothing. Anything. 5 minutes like this is better than nothing. If you get into maybe making a list of questions and maybe even sharing those questions with the person, I'd like to talk to you about how did you get into organic chemistry, or why did you change professions, or um, who was important to you when you were growing up, who inspired you, things like that. Then you give the person a chance to think about the answers, and they wouldn't feel so shell shocked when you sit down with them. And you can buy a little tripod and just put it on a table nearby, and an iPhone would be a good way to start. Once you get into it, you might see some limitations and think, oh, I got some, but it might be good to have a professional do more. But at least you get to see the value of it right away. Sharing it with people in the family or friends. Wow, is there any more of this? I mean, it's just people never think about it. And then the person's gone, and, we're all going
Right, right, it's happening one way or another.
one way
And
or another.
well, and it's interesting because I find pieces like that also seem to deepen conversations. So, like, in other words, you have this video where you're asking these questions that you normally don't ask. So we tend to get in ruts, like around the dinner table with our families, or or wherever else, where we're just talking about things that don't really matter, the weather or work or whatever else. But starting to talk about these deeper topics, I find that the kinds of conversations you end up having and the connections you have just become so much more deep. Has that been your same experience?
Yeah, Doug and I talked about those questions long after the video. He died last year, about 7 years after I filmed that. But yeah, those are questions that I think most people wouldn't ask. What was important to you when you were a child? They just don't come up. And I think when he does have grandchildren, when they get older and they get interested in what was grandpa like, they can watch the video and see what his life was like. I mean, that's a long video. It's 30 minutes long. I think that's too long for most people, but his family loved every minute of it. And we went through his childhood, his careers, his marriages, his children, his quest to do this homage to the priests and the monks at the monastery, who was important to him, and his whole life story is in there, chapters. So very
Yeah,
detailed.
it's what a special gift for his family, and that's so incredible that you were involved in that. And by the way, if you want to see the video, it's also posted in the article itself, so there's a YouTube link to it, which Karen has provided. How do people find out about you, Karen?
I'm starting to advertise the legacy videos on my website and on Facebook. That's the best way. But I think to just call and ask about them is probably the best way.
All right, so call and ask. We
Email
have
me call me.
Yeah, right. Call Karen. We have her info, more in her bio, which is great. I didn't go through everything in her bio. She has a very impressive background. And then what is your website?
It's KarenLongPortraits.com.
KarenLongPortraits.com. Excellent. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Karen. And it's been a pleasure. And I hope this inspires people to get out there and start recording some videos.
I hope so. It's never too soon. This is a good time. Today is a good time.
Absolutely.
I photograph my cats sometimes playing, and it's just an amazing tool to have a camera, all kinds of cameras to capture life. And when you think about it, it really is priceless.
Absolutely. And we're in a blessed time too, because the technology is so available.
It is available and easy to use.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, thank you, Karen. And
okay.
Thank you for the wonderful article. Again, check out the article, check out Karen's website, and check out the video about Doug and see how Karen put that together. It's an incredible video. Thank you so much.
Okay.
If you're interested in passing your non-financial assets like your wisdom, your values, and your beliefs to your family and leaving a great impact on the world, make sure to grab a free subscription to our online magazine. Go to legacyartsmagazine.com and you'll see it there. In every issue, we interview fascinating people about their legacies, from Fortune 500 CEOs to artists to philanthropic leaders to best-selling authors. We also offer tips, guidance, and strategies for developing an excellent legacy of your own.